And we'll get the show on the road here. Again, thanks so much for joining today. My name is Dennis Smeltzer. I'm the president of TSANet. I've actually been involved with the organization since they got started back in 1993. So it's been a lot of fun being part of this organization and watching it grow. And the objective of what we're going to do today is give you a very high-level view of what TSANet is. We get into the weeds a little bit on the different membership levels and things like that, and then we're going to tactically go in there and show you exactly how it works. I usually find that TSANet is one of those things that when it's not used a whole lot, and so it's not always in front of your face. And for people that kind of rotate in and out of the support center, they may have heard of it, but they don't really know what it is or how to use it. So we want to solve that with going through this intro to TSANet. And I'll say at the start of this, if you want me to do one of these specifically for your company, I can do that as well, and we can kind of customize it a little bit and do all that kind of stuff. All you got to do is get a hold of me. These are kind of the topics that we're going to go over. We're not get into, again, a lot of detail on this stuff. And actually, I pull this slide up to tell you really more of what we're not going to cover. And that is that we do have the ability with a program called Case Exchange to be able to send tickets back and forth between member companies electronically. And we've even got connectors for specific CRM systems like Salesforce. But you can also do it through the member web that you guys are going to see here towards the end of this presentation. It is really deserves a different presentation where you can get in and actually demo it and be able to see it. It's something that the members have wanted, and a lot of members are implementing it now. So it's definitely worth doing, something that has been on the forefront for a long time, but it does deserve a separate presentation. So I'm not going to get into the Case Exchange, but be aware that it is a capability out there for all members, regardless of your membership level, and it's also available to you as part of your membership fee. So there is no extra additional charges or anything like that. We don't do that, which kind of leads me into my next slide here, and that is to give you a very high-level view of the organization itself. And this is something I think is important because we're a little bit different, right? This is a not-for-profit organization that was founded by and for the industry back in '93. And that has been our goal. And what makes it unique is everything that you're going to see here and everything that we've done isn't something that TSANet decided we're going to come do this and sell it to our customers as a product or service or whatever, because we're an organization that's set up to serve the industry. So what you're going to see is what our members want us to do, and we want to continue that. So we have things like strategy days that we've got coming up here in the fall out in California, where we want our members to come in and say, where do you want this organization to go, and what do you want it to do? So we operate under a set of bylaws. I work for a board of directors, and that board is actually elected by the members. We have a small global staff of 7 people, but they are scattered. We've got people not only here in the U.S., but also in the U.K. and in Germany. We're up to several hundred members now, and we'll talk about the membership levels and all that kind of stuff. But what makes this work is the operational framework and the legal framework. I'm going to show you the operational framework, which is basically the member web that is the tactical view of if you need to collaborate and engage another company, how do you make that work? Or if they need to do that with you. This obviously works both ways. The other thing that we've done is we have gotten all these big companies to agree to a common set of verbiage. And if you've ever been involved in creating a cooperative support agreement with another company at a detail level, those can sometimes turn into really legal nightmares. And that's one of the reasons TSANet has become so popular and stuck around, quite honestly, since '93, is because we've done this. So it's very easy for us to implement relationships, and you're going to see that you can even do that on a customized basis. So if what we've created for what we call the many-to-many groups doesn't work for you, you've got the ability to do this on a custom basis. So that is a lot of the benefit of being a member of TSANet, is both this operational and legal framework. So the next two slides here is going to cover the membership levels. And most of you that are on this call now are part of either the basic or the premium TSANet, which is what we call the open groups. And this is how the organization actually got started. And the big benefit was you've got this ecosystem or community out there, and you can join into this relationship and automatically have a relationship with everybody else that's in that community. And that morphed itself into the basic TSANet and the premium TSANet, with the main difference being the premium TSANet is simply a subset of the basic TSANet, where companies agree that they will work with each other on a global scale, that they'll work with each other on a 24/7 scale, and that there are higher level SLAs. And it's typically what companies would define as enterprise level customers, is what the SLAs are. So you've got this basic TSANet and premium TSANet, but when you've got such a big group of companies, and the basic TSANet is over 100 companies that are part of that, you're going to have both your partners in there that you need to work with, but you're probably also going to have your competitors in there. So the only way to really make this work is that you've got to put something in the middle that lets people be a lot more comfortable about joining into this big, huge group where almost anybody can call them. And that's where the mutual customer comes into play. So the rules of engagement here is that nobody is required to engage or work with another company unless it involves a mutual customer. And that is typically defined as a customer that has some kind of support entitlement, some kind of support contract with the company you're calling. So a question I get all the time from people that don't know anything about TSANet is, oh, I'm going to get barraged with phone calls. Well, you're not going to get barraged with phone calls. You're getting the phone call one way or another. It's just through TSANet, what you're doing is you're getting that phone call from another member that your customer called first. And you've got the ability to then go in there and qualify that customer as one of your customers that you'd be willing to work with this other company on. And I'll show you exactly how that happens as well. So what I want to do here is the objective of this is to give you this concept that we've got this many open-to-open group concept where you've got customers that are involved in this. In the premium TSANet, you're going to define a mutual customer as a customer that's entitled to 24/7 support. So again, you're not going to be accepting a phone call unless you can be assured that it's one of your mutual customers. And again, I'll show you how that happens. So this next slide is the other membership level, or actually levels that we formed several years ago. And how this came about was that most companies would come back to us and say, well, you know, the basic and premium TSANet, that meets about 95% of my membership relation needs. So from a collaboration perspective, most of the companies are in there that I need to work with, and I'm good with that. But there are times where maybe I've got something special and I really need something that's beyond the open groups, or maybe I just want to have certain members and partners that are part of this relationship. So what we did was we created the ability for the members to create their own relationships, and they can host these. We actually have partner programs, and this kind of morphed itself into what you see here is the peer group or the partner group. And so in the peer group, what you could have is a simple one-to-one relationship with another company. And maybe you want it, and what you do with this is you define not only who participates, but you also define the terms of the relationship. And that goes all the way into defining a mutual customer. You may not want to define that as a requirement for your custom group. A lot of companies also use this in this many-to-many concept, and these are typically more strategic relationships where you may have a product set or a set of customers, and you want a very high-level, streamlined path of collaboration between a small group of companies. So what you can do is you can come in and host this relationship, define who participates in this, define what the terms of those how they participate, and then we actually create this all through the member web, and you'll see an example of that. The other example I'll give you is custom groups is also in this partner area. And what this really boils down to is you have a lot of programs out there where there's a need to have on the support side a collaboration path between a host company and their partners for this partner program. So what we give our members the ability to do is to have is to host a partner program through TSANet. So from the host perspective, it's a one-to-many, and from the partner's perspective, it's a simple one-to-one relationship. And we've even gone further with this and given the ability for our host companies to actually pay for the membership dues for their partners to come into the program. And because it's a one-to-one relationship and all that kind of thing, we're talking about a very low member fee. So, I mean, it can be, depending if it's a large program, and I've got a few of these that have got well over 100 members that are part of their program, you can get those fees down to $50 a month or $50 a year per partner if you wanted to do that. So if you're an open group member, a basic or premium TSANet, and you're not doing this, I highly recommend you do it, because this is where you get a lot more value out of your membership dues. And any basic or premium member can create or participate in as many of these custom groups as they want to. Okay, so that's really what I wanted to show you on the slides. I'll come back to this key takeaways, but I want to give you a real tactical view here of TSANet. So what I've done is I've logged in here as EMC, and there's a lot of different ways you get into the member web. You can have group logins that you may find that are posted up on an intranet site. You may have an individual login. There's multiple ways for you to get in. What I've done is I've logged in here as EMC, and let's say that I want to engage and collaborate with Citrix. So in this case, up at the top here, what this is simply your My TSANet space. This is going to be a shortcut to what I'm going to show you down here in the member directory, where I can click on all, and I'm going to see all of these companies down here. Now, the ones that are highlighted are the ones that I have a relationship with, and that could be either the basic or the premium TSANet, or it could be that I have a custom group. So these other companies that are out here that aren't highlighted are a member of another custom group. And you don't have a relationship with them, but since they're already members, if you need to have a relationship with them, very easy for me to set that up. All you got to do is get a hold of me. But let's take the example here. Let's say I need to engage and work with Citrix. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'll click on Citrix. Now it's going to pull up all the different relationships I have, which in this case you're going to see that I have the basic and the premium TSANet, and then I've also got this custom group called MVEC. And we'll talk about that in a minute, but what I want you to see here is how this was split up. So what Citrix did was they came back and said, I've got a different path that I want to send all the members of TSANet for America's support versus APAC or EMEA support. So what they've done is they've created a different path for that to happen. If I wanted to go ahead and engage Citrix through the basic TSANet in the Americas, meaning that customer is likely an America's customer, I just click on this tile and it's going to bring up what we call a contact document. And this contact document is basically split up into 3 areas. This area up here before you call, that's information that Citrix wants you to get about the mutual customer before you engage them. And then down here, how do you want to be contacted? Well, they're giving you some knowledge base information. They're also giving you how do you place a call, how do you actually engage them. And then down at the bottom of every contact document is also going to be an escalation point. And so from a TSANet perspective, just to give you an idea, you're going to have an escalation point for every company and every relationship. And then if that fails, then you can contact TSANet. And our job is to make sure that that the companies are being compliant with the relationship that they're part of. Okay, so let me give you another example. I'll actually go back in the My TSANet space. Let me go back. Actually, I'll go back to Citrix again. I wanted to give, well, it's up here in the shortcut menu. I'll give you an idea of what a custom group and how it can be used and the difference between that and the open group. So I'm gonna go into this MVEC group, and what it does is it takes me into a microsite. There's this nothing here area. You can disregard that because I'm logged in as an administrator. But basically what this does is gives you the ability to not only collaborate with the partners of that group, but you can also log knowledge and training exchange. This is customizable up here. You can do different things with that. This area right here, even though it's showing up here, If you're an administrator, you've got the ability to go in and add notes that only your company would see if you wanted to do that. But then if I want to collaborate, what I can do is I can come over here and click on this Collaborate tab, and it's going to show me all of the members that are part of that group. Now this group, to give you an idea how custom groups can work, this was set up with a small group of companies that you see here, and the objective of this was that if there was a Sub 1 ticket opened up on my end, and I logged in as EMC, and there was a Sub 1 ticket opened up with another company, that I would automatically put that into a very high level of escalation because we knew that there was a Sub 1 ticket opened up on both sides. So these companies agree to work at that level. They agree to make that collaboration and engagement work at that level, and they just created a custom group through TSANet to implement it. So if I wanted to go in here and say that was Citrix again through this MVEC custom group, I'm going to see a different process. And in this case, what they've done is given you an alias. So there's, again, a lot of different things that you can do with TSANet as far as the open groups, and then supplementing that with the custom groups. If you've got companies out there, for example, that you just need to have them part of TSANet. A lot of companies will do this. Instead of trying to create a separate CSA, you can create a custom group and just pull them into your own custom group, even though it may mimic or look exactly like the basic or the premium TSANet. Very easy to do. Okay, so we're about 20 after here. Let me go back and finish this key takeaways here. Let me do that, and then we'll open it up for any questions that you might have. So here's what I think are the key takeaways of this. We're an organization of members. I think it's very important for everybody to understand our not-for-profit status and how we were set up and what we still do today as far as being member-driven. Understand this entitlement level for basic and premium TSANet. And I didn't hit this too much, but I do want everyone to understand that if you're a premium TSANet member, just because you're a premium doesn't necessarily mean that you would contact that other member under a premium relationship. If that customer is entitled to that level, you absolutely would, because then you're assured that you're going to get that level of support. But if they're not, you could still contact them under the basic TSANet. You'll find a lot of companies have got a different path for premium TSANet versus basic TSANet. Custom groups, we talked enough about that, can be a totally different set of elements. So don't tie into, oh, well, if I do a custom group, it's exactly like the premium or the basic TSANet. It may not be. It may be a totally different set of elements. The point here is to raise customer satisfaction and minimize the finger pointing. Customers, you probably know this better than I do, get really upset when they're finger pointed around, and the point here is to say, look, Mr. Customer, I can work with this other company for you on your behalf. I might need a little information from you, but you don't need to be caught in the middle. You don't need to start this all over again. I can work with this other company directly. Okay, escalate calls, you've got that escalation process at the bottom of every contact document. Use that if the contact process does not work. And if that still doesn't work, let us know, because we can't solve problems unless we know that they're out there. Okay, and we've got a lot of stuff that we do. Case exchange, again, all that kind of stuff is out on the public side of the website, and there's a ton of information. And I invite you to send an email to me, either dennis@tsanet.org or membership@tsanet.org, if you've got any questions or there's anything that we can do for you. Remember, you're part of this organization, and we're here to serve our members. Okay, so if you've got any questions, go ahead and ask them now. We'll wait a little bit and see if we got anything, and if we don't, we'll give you back here just a few minutes. Okay, well, I'm not showing anything, so we'll let it go at that. I hope you found this to be real informative, to give you a high-level view of TSANet. Certainly, if you want to get into any detail on this, get a hold of us, and we'd be more than happy to walk you through anything else. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Bye-bye.